Somewhere right now, in a swamp in East Africa, a bird the size of a small child is standing so still that herons have landed on its back, mistaking it for a branch. Somewhere in the canals beneath Mexico City, an animal that should have grown up decades ago is regrowing an entire leg, bone, and nerve and muscle as easily as you might grow a fingernail. Somewhere in the deep cold of the Central Asian steppe, an antelope is breathing through a nose built like a furnace filter, a design that helped it survive an ice age that killed almost everything around it. You have probably never heard of any of them. There are an estimated 8.7 million species on this planet. We have named and described less than 2 million of them. Even among the animals we do know, the famous ones, the lions and elephants and dolphins, take up almost all of our attention, while some of the strangest, most extraordinary creatures alive today live in near total obscurity, unphotographed, unfilmed, unknown to almost everyone except the handful of researchers who have spent their careers in the specific swamp or cave or reef where that one animal happens to live. This list is not about the biggest animals or the most dangerous or the ones already famous enough to have their own documentaries. This is about the ones hiding in plain sight, the ones doing something so strange, so far outside what we assume biology is capable of, that the first time most scientists encountered them, they assumed it was a hoax. Every single animal on this list is real. Every one of them is alive right now, today, somewhere on this planet, doing exactly what we are about to describe. And we have ranked them, not by size or fame, but by how difficult they are to believe, building from strange to nearly impossible. By the time we reach number 1, you may never think about the natural world the same way again. Let's begin. Subscribe to Wild Souls and never miss a story like this one. Number 10. The Saiga antelope. In the cold, open grasslands of Central Asia, there lives an antelope with a face unlike any other mammal on the planet. The saiga has a large, swollen, tubular nose, drooping slightly downward over its mouth, structured almost like a small trunk. This nose is not decorative. It is an air conditioning system. In summer, the saiga's nose filters out dust kicked up by herds running across dry plains. In winter, the same structure warms freezing air before it reaches the lungs, allowing the animal to survive temperatures that would damage the respiratory systems of almost any other grazing mammal. The saiga has survived since the last ice age. It once ranged alongside woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats. It outlived them all. And yet in May of 2015, in the span of just 3 weeks, more than 200,000 saiga antelopes died in Kazakhstan, nearly 2/3 of the entire global population, from a bacterial infection that researchers eventually linked to unusually warm and humid weather conditions. An animal that survived the ice age was nearly wiped out by a single unusually warm spring. It is recovering, slowly, under intense conservation protection. But its population remains a fraction of historical numbers, a reminder that surviving 10,000 years means nothing if the climate changes faster than evolution can respond. Number 9. The axolotl. In the canals beneath Mexico City, in water increasingly contaminated and reduced by urban expansion, there lives a salamander that refuses to grow up. The axolotl reaches full sexual maturity while retaining the external gills, aquatic lifestyle, and physical form of a juvenile salamander larva. It never undergoes full metamorphosis. It simply continues being, in essence, a permanent child for its entire adult life, a condition biologists call neoteny. But the axolotl's strangest ability is not its eternal youth. It is its capacity for regeneration. An axolotl can regrow an entire amputated limb, fully functional, complete with bone, muscle, and nerve tissue, within a matter of weeks. It can regenerate portions of its spinal cord. It can regenerate parts of its heart and brain. Scientists studying regenerative medicine consider the axolotl one of the most important model organisms on Earth, because understanding how it regrows complex tissue without scarring could eventually inform human medicine in ways we are only beginning to explore. The axolotl is, in the wild, critically endangered, found only in a shrinking network of canals in a single valley in Mexico. The animal that might hold keys to regenerative medicine for humanity is, in its natural habitat, almost gone. Number 8. The shoebill. In the swamps of East Africa, standing motionless for hours among the papyrus reeds, there is a bird that looks as though it was designed by someone trying to make something prehistoric. The shoebill stands over a meter tall, with a massive bulbous gray bill shaped almost exactly like a Dutch wooden clog, hence the name. Its eyes are pale and intense, and its expression, if a bird can be said to have one, suggests something between curiosity and quiet menace. The shoebill hunts with a strategy that researchers describe as statue-like patience. It will stand entirely motionless, sometimes for hours, waiting for a lungfish or baby crocodile to surface nearby, then strike downward with such explosive speed and force that the impact can decapitate prey or shatter aquatic vegetation in a wide radius. The strike has been measured among the fastest and most powerful in the bird world relative to body size. Shoebills are largely solitary, communicate primarily through a behavior called bill clattering, rapidly snapping their massive bill together to produce a sound like machine gun fire, and are believed to mate for extended periods with the same partner, returning to the same nesting territory year after year. Fewer than 8,000 are believed to remain in the wild. Number 7. The mantis shrimp. In tropical and subtropical reefs around the world, beneath the sand, in burrows it digs and defends with extraordinary aggression, lives an animal with the most complex visual system of any creature on Earth. The mantis shrimp possesses between 12 and 16 types of color receptor cells. Humans have 3. Some species can see ultraviolet light and polarized light invisible to nearly every other animal, processing visual information in a way scientists still do not fully understand, because the mantis shrimp's brain appears to process color differently from any other known visual system, possibly scanning rather than blending information the way human vision does. But the mantis shrimp's true claim to fame is its strike. Certain species possess a specialized appendage that can accelerate underwater faster than a bullet leaving a gun barrel, striking prey with such force that the water around the strike briefly boils, producing a flash of light and a shockwave through a phenomenon called cavitation. This strike is powerful enough to shatter aquarium glass, crack crab shells instantly, and has been known to seriously injure handlers. The mantis shrimp does this with no muscles capable of generating that speed directly. It uses a spring-loaded mechanical latch system, essentially a biological crossbow, that stores energy and releases it nearly instantaneously. Number 6. The eye. In the rainforests of Madagascar, found nowhere else on Earth, lives a primate so strange in appearance that local folklore in parts of Madagascar considers it an omen of death, leading to its killing on sight in some regions, a significant factor in its endangered status. The eye has enormous, ever-growing incisor teeth like a rodent, huge, sensitive ears, and a thin, skeletal middle finger unlike anything else in the primate world, used for a hunting technique found in almost no other mammal. The eye taps rapidly along tree bark with that elongated middle finger, listening through its oversized ears for subtle changes in echo that indicate hollow chambers where wood-boring insect larvae are hiding. This technique, called percussive foraging, is functionally similar to echolocation, an ability almost unheard of among primates. Once it locates a hollow chamber, the eye gnaws through the bark with its rodent-like teeth and extracts the larva using that same impossibly thin finger, hooking it out like a tiny natural fork. It is, in essence, a primate that evolved to do the job woodpeckers do in most other ecosystems, because Madagascar's isolation meant no woodpeckers arrived to fill that niche first. Number 5. The glass frog. In the cloud forests of Central and South America, perched on the undersides of leaves above rushing streams, lives a frog with translucent skin so clear that, in many species, you can see directly into its body. The internal organs, the beating heart, the coiled intestines, even in some species the eggs developing inside a female, are visible through the skin on the frog's underside, while the back remains a more typical green, providing camouflage against leaves from above. Researchers studying glass frogs discovered something remarkable in 2022. While sleeping during the day, certain glass frog species pack nearly 90% of their circulating red blood cells into their liver, which expands to accommodate them and is coated in a reflective substance that hides the concentrated blood from view, making the frog appear even more transparent than usual and reducing its visibility to predators. The frog essentially hides its own blood inside a mirrored organ every single day, then redistributes it back into circulation when it wakes to become active at night, a feat of physiological coordination unmatched by almost any other vertebrate. Number 4. The pangolin. We have told this story in full in a previous episode, but it earns its place here because so few people have ever heard its name. The pangolin is the only mammal on Earth entirely covered in scales, made of the same keratin as human fingernails, and its instinctive defense, curling into an impenetrable ball, protected it from every natural predator for 65 million years. It is now the most illegally trafficked mammal on the planet, hunted for scales used in traditional medicine despite having no proven medicinal properties whatsoever. If you have not seen our full episode on the pangolin, we will leave a link because its story deserves more than 60 seconds. Number 3. The pistol shrimp. In coral reefs and rocky coastlines worldwide, hidden in burrows, lives a tiny shrimp barely 5 centimeters long capable of producing one of the loudest sounds in the entire ocean. The pistol shrimp has one greatly enlarged claw that can snap shut with such speed and force that it creates a cavitation bubble, similar to the mantis shrimp's mechanism, but used differently. When this bubble collapses, it produces a sound that can reach 218 decibels, louder than a gunshot, briefly reaching temperatures approaching the surface of the sun in the microscopic space where the bubble collapses for a fraction of a millisecond, accompanied by a brief flash of light so faint it can only be detected by specialized sensors. The shrimp uses this shockwave to stun or kill prey at a distance without ever touching it directly. Colonies of pistol shrimp snapping simultaneously create so much underwater noise that during World War II, naval forces reported sonar and submarine detection being interfered with by what they initially could not identify, eventually traced to large colonies of these small, nearly invisible shrimp. Number 2. The tardigrade. Under a microscope, in moss, in deep ocean sediment, in Antarctic ice, in nearly every environment on Earth, lives a microscopic animal less than 1 millimeter long that may be, by some measures, the most resilient complex organism ever discovered. The tardigrade, sometimes called a water bear for its slow, lumbering gait under magnification, can survive being frozen to nearly absolute zero. It can survive being heated past the boiling point of water. It can survive radiation exposure thousands of times higher than what would kill a human. It can survive complete dehydration, entering a state called cryptobiosis, where its metabolism drops to roughly 0.01% of normal function, essentially pausing its own existence for years, in some studied cases for over a decade, then rehydrating and resuming normal life as though no time had passed at all. In 2007, the European Space Agency sent tardigrades into the vacuum of open space, unprotected, exposed directly to cosmic radiation and the complete absence of atmosphere. A significant number survived. It remains one of the only animals known to survive direct exposure to the vacuum of space. Number 1. The mola mola, also known as the ocean sunfish. In open ocean waters worldwide, drifting near the surface, sometimes appearing to bask sideways in the sun, lives the heaviest bony fish on the planet, capable of weighing over 2,000 kilograms, roughly the weight of a small car, while looking, frankly, like a fish that stopped halfway through being built. The mola mola has no proper tail. Instead, it has a strange truncated structure called a clavus, which gives the animal its famous flattened, almost two-dimensional appearance, as though someone took a normal fish and simply removed everything behind the dorsal and anal fins. A single female mola mola can release up to 300 million eggs in a single reproductive event, more than any other known vertebrate on Earth, though the survival rate to adulthood is extraordinarily low, with most offspring lost long before reaching even a fraction of the species' eventual massive size. Despite weighing as much as a car, the mola mola feeds primarily on jellyfish and other soft, low-calorie prey, meaning it must consume enormous quantities simply to sustain its own body mass. It is frequently seen drifting at the surface, apparently sunbathing, a behavior researchers believe may help the fish warm itself after deep dives into cold water in search of jellyfish, while also allowing seabirds to land on its body and pick off parasites embedded in its thick, rough skin, a mutual cleaning relationship visible from boats and aircraft worldwide. It is, in nearly every sense, one of the strangest large animals alive on Earth today, and most people who have lived their entire lives within sight of the ocean have never once heard its name. 10 animals: saiga, axolotl, shoebill, mantis shrimp, eye, glass frog, pangolin, pistol shrimp, tardigrade, and the mola mola. Each one alive, right now, somewhere on this planet, doing something stranger and more remarkable than almost anything human imagination could invent on its own. Every animal has a story. Every story has a soul. This has been Wild Souls. If this story stayed with you, please subscribe. Tell us in the comments which one of these 10 surprised you the most and which animal you think deserves its own full episode. We read every single one. New stories every week. We will see you next time.